Hey, this is John Leon Guerrero. Our guest today is Bill Grisolia. He's had an impressive career inside and outside of the music business as a thought leader on missions related to everything from environmental sustainability to telecommunications, marketing, and even philanthropy. He's lectured at institutions to include UCLA and Pepperdine, and he's got a stack of awards from hither and yon. He was a legislative assistant to Senator Bob Dole, and he was an honored guest of the president in the Oval Office. Now, I met him at NAMM this year. He's a foremost blues man and on the board of the Long Beach Blues Society, which is what he's talking with us about today. When I met him, we were in the bar at the Hilton Hotel next to the Anaheim Convention Center, and he was sitting with a fellow Long Beach Blues Society board member, our Uncle HB, Harold Brown, which of course buys him some instant cred with me. But Bill is a fascinating guy himself. You're going to love him. Now, I want to take a second to invite you to support our favorite cause, Save the Brave. You can read about them at savethebrave.org. They are a certified 501c3 nonprofit organization dedicated to helping veterans cope with post-traumatic stress. You can read all about them and donate a few bucks to them to help them with the veterans who can use a hand. Pete and I both support Save the Brave with our time and with our recurring contributions right out of our PayPal accounts. And Scott Husing supports them too. He serves on their board. They do great work, and we urge you to support them as well. If you would buy a combat veteran a lunch once a month, well, that's what we're asking. And you can set up a recurring PayPal contribution right at savethebrave.org in about 3 minutes. You should do it. We'd also like you to support the Break It Down show on whatever platform you're listening to us, iTunes, Spotify, iHeartRadio, YouTube. Please help us out with a 5-star rating and a positive review. It helps new listeners find us, and we really appreciate you doing it. And as always, we appreciate you listening. So without further ado, here's our guest today, our friend, bluesman Bill Grisolia.
Lions Rock Productions.
This is Jay Moore.
This is Greg Proops.
This is Jordan Harbinger.
This is Dexter from The Offspring.
This is Nathan
This is
East.
Sebastian Younger.
This is Rick Marotta.
This is Stuart Copeland.
This is Mick Gillette.
This is Andy Summers.
Hey, this is Skunk Baxter.
This is Gabby Reese.
This is Rob Bell.
Hey, this is John Leon Guerrero.
Hey, and this is Pete A. Turner.
Hi, I'm Bill Grisolia, the co-founder of the Long Beach Blues Society, here together with Bob Barr, the other co-founder, with Steve Proctor, who helps us also with the New Blues Festival. And I'm also the co-founder of the New Blues Revolution Band. And you're listening to the Break It Down Show.
And now, the Break It Down Show with John Leon Guerrero and Pete A. Turner.
Yes, indeed. We're here in Long Beach, California at the El Dorado. This is the El Dorado Golf and what's the name of this place?
It's the El Dorado Golf Course.
The El Dorado Golf Course Restaurant.
That's right.
We're about to sit down to a beautiful breakfast, and we're watching guys hit balls down the fairway. But we are here today to talk about the Long Beach Blues Society. We're here to talk about Long Beach as a vacation destination. We're here to talk about blues festivals. We're here to talk about a lot of things.
Yeah.
We also want to mention that we got put together, we met at the NAMM show.
The National Association of Music Merchandisers.
That's right. The annual NAMM show, I don't know what number it was this year, but it keeps growing bigger and bigger and bigger. And I've been going to those things. I took many years off, but started going to NAMM shows in the late 80s. And then I've been to the last few.
What people all over the world know is that the NAMM show in Anaheim, California, is the world's largest music convention annually.
Hey, this is Pete A. Turner from the Break It Down Show, checking in real quick to ask you this. John, Scott, and I all support Save the Brave with our time, our location, our effort, and our money. Each month we give a small amount. Do the same with us. Go to savethebrave.org, click on the Donate tab, pick an amount that you want to come out each month, and they will handle all the rest. I stand behind these folks. Thank you so much. Let's get back to the show.
What people all over the world know is that the NAMM show in Anaheim, California, is the world's largest music convention annually.
That is true. It is big. I think this year they topped 120,000 attendees.
Wow.
And that's a lot. So it's 120,000 people there, all somehow related to the music industry. A lot of players, a lot of merchandise manufacturers, a lot of just really anything you can think of music. And out of 120,000 people, I find myself sitting at the Hilton Bar next to Bill. And we had a terrific conversation. And I said, Bill, I'm here with my podcast. The NAMM is generous to give us a press pass every year. This year we were there to cover our good friends Larry Batiste and Claytoven Richardson, who are the co-MDs of the Tech Awards. And there we were among 120,000 people.
And you snagged us because our band, the New Blues Revolution, has been a performer on an official NAMM stage for 5 years.
5 years. Wow. So let's talk about festivals in general. How many festivals have the Long Beach Blues Society put on so far?
Well, the New Blues Festival, which is now produced also in co-sponsorship with the Long Beach Blues Society, has produced 7 festivals in 3 cities in 6 years.
All right, let's talk about them. 3 cities.
They are Adelanto, Huntington Beach, and Long Beach.
Terrific. So all pretty close by, right here in Southern California. And I want to say that for our listeners who are from elsewhere, because you should come to Southern California.
Southern California is a wonderful destination, and you couldn't get a better beach than Long Beach.
Yeah. Long Beach is wonderful. All of the beaches around here, all of the places around here are, first of all, Southern California is the entertainment capital of the known universe. So if you like to be entertained, start here. There are a lot of things to do, a lot of things to see, and it's all spread out all over the place. So the best way to concentrate your fun is to start at a festival. So what festivals do you guys have coming up in the coming year? What are you looking forward to?
Well, we're looking forward to some new developments. We're in discussions with some possible partners, including up north in the San Francisco Bay Area. The city of San Rafael is interested in doing something with us based on, the success that we've had in the past. So we're looking forward to developing perhaps that relationship. We've had inquiries from across the country, including something developing in Danbury, Connecticut. But we're really looking forward to our next future festival in Long Beach. We're not sure when that will take place yet, but we do have another one in Huntington Beach. In fact, for the next 2 years, we did a 3-year deal there. So in Huntington Beach, we'll be returning in the last Saturday of April in 2020.
Last Saturday in April, Huntington Beach. That's a great time to be in Huntington Beach, too. You're there in the warmth of the spring sun. It's not yet too baking hot. You're going to get beautiful weather. You're going to get a beautiful location. You're going to get a lot of great music. Do you have artists are committed to that event yet? Or
Well, we've been talking for a year with Walter Trout, and so it's possible that he'll come on as a headliner. Of course, we don't have that commitment yet, but we're talking with Walter and his wife and his agent about that. So we think that we may be able to bring him in. We wanted to start off the festival this year with him, but he was previously committed, so we'll see. Bob, who is Walter? Do you remember him performing this past weekend or so here in Southern California? I think he was at one of the large facilities, and I think he was...
Yeah, I can't tell you which one.
And he was opening for... Bad to the Bone. What's the...
Oh, George Thorogood.
Yeah, he was opening for George this past weekend or so, and it was a big show, and we're hoping to bring Walter in. So that's the headliner that we're targeting for.
How about, hey, fans of Walter who are out there listening to the show, hit him up. Let him know. Let him know you want to come see him play at the Huntington Beach Blues Festival, so that maybe we, help light a fire under his folks to make the arrangement. But let's see, the festival is how many days?
That one in Huntington Beach has been 1 day.
It's a single day.
Single day, as was the one in Adelanto. The ones in Long Beach, that we started at 1 day, and we then have done 5 total, but 4 of them have been 2-day events.
All right. So when you have a single day event, everybody, this again is for our listeners, when you have a single day event, you get concentrated time to be entertained all day long. And then if your starting point is Huntington Beach, you have a great vacation with a lot of reach for a lot of things that you can do in and around Southern California. So start there. Have a great time at the Huntington Beach Blues Festival. There is not a better time to be in Huntington Beach than in the spring.
It's Surf City, USA, buddy.
That's right.
You know, this is where the epic center of everything that happened in surfing in Southern California, and a great place for live entertainment. They've got a lot of venues down there, and it is an absolutely brilliant town to work in, and a wonderful community businesses and support that we have there.
Yeah, lots of great places to eat. I had a slice of pizza in Huntington Beach one time.
You still remember?
That was yeah. I mean, it should have been served on a Thanksgiving turkey platter. But no, Huntington Beach is great. It's, there's just a lot to do. And here's the thing I love about Huntington Beach and Long Beach is when you come to a festival, on a festival day when it's nice and hot and everybody's in a great mood, everybody's got barely nothing on. I'm speaking Pete's language now. Everybody's got. This is what we love, man. We love to go to an event where everybody's just walking around in a good mood with barely nothing on. There's nothing better than that.
I love it.
Everybody just a little bit of. You got a little glaze of sweat. Maybe a little glaze of sweat and something great to eat in your hand while you walk. It's just a terrific time and a great way to start or conclude a vacation. So
well, music festivals, they help, create a sense of community.
Yeah, they sure do.
And it's clearly established that there are great psychological, educational, developmental benefits of music festivals and in community development. Steve, who's with us today, he's the real star of the outfit because, musically, he had an act. He can tell us about it. But his act opened for Fatboy Slim and for Moby and toured the world. They did 5,000-10,000 seat halls, at least on 3 continents. So, he's got some good insight.
That was a long time ago, but it did happen.
Effective music.
It did happen. Yeah.
Look at Steve playing humble. Tell us about it, Steve. I mean, I want you to tell us about that and then how it brought you together with these guys.
So I was in a band called Hard Knocks, and this was kind of like mid-90s to mid-2000s. And it's totally different style of music. It's not blues. It's electronic music. It's quite aggressive. It's, that sort of thing. But
Hard Knocks.
Yeah. And so there was a band of us, and we were lucky enough to travel the globe, touring with Fatboy Slim and Moby, like Bill said, do a lot of DJing and stuff like that. So it just gave me a good insight into the music business and just how things work with artists and events that I was able to sort of bring in and help out with New Blues Festival.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so what brought you to the Long Beach area?
How long have you got? So it was a lady. I met an American girl in England, and we got married, and I moved over here 10 years ago.
Okay.
I think it was, and I was still doing music. I do music for like commercials and stuff like that. Still to this day, and some film work as well. And so I was doing that for the first 5 years that I was here, and then a couple of odd jobs here and there. And then I was lucky enough to bump into Bill, who I told him my story, and he's like, man, you got to come and see what you can do with us at New Blues Festival. I think maybe you could help out. And it's just gone great from there.
Terrific. Where did you guys bump into each other?
At a place I was doing a part-time job. It was like a picture framing place. Total random job.
All right.
Random job. And he came in there, and we just hit it off straight away, and I showed him some of my music. And he was like, "Oh, this is all right. It's not my sort of thing, but this is all right.
But it's music."
Yeah. So he appreciated it, and we just sort of hit it off from there.
For the record, I have to interrupt and say that I loved your music. I never said it wasn't my cup of tea. I loved his music's great. You can find Hard Knocks, you'll see.
Yeah.
Isn't it funny how he remembers your perception of his music?
Yeah. That's an artist.
Well, then again, sometimes I'm not the world's best communicator, but I'll try and bump it up for today's program.
Yeah. So one of the other recurring themes on our show is, we have a lot of guys who are way behind the scenes on our show. We've been We've been very fortunate to have some rock stars on the show, but we've also been very fortunate to have a lot of guys who propel the industry. And one of the things that keeps coming back is, just like Pete, just like myself, and just like you, we have a lot of guys who, they float in and out between music and, other things, and they restart careers and they refresh careers in different places in the industry.
Yeah.
Some guys might move from music to film. There's all kinds of vacillation in a career in the arts.
How much the music industry has changed over the last kind of 20 years. I think artists have had to do that, right?
Yeah.
And just work out where the revenue streams can sort of come from, because it's changed so much. It's been a big change, I think, for everyone.
Yeah. Also, not everybody figures it out. And so what one of the things that we try to do on our show is to just, if there are listeners out there who are in that spot where, I got to frame some pictures for a little while I put food on the table, we want everybody to hang in there. Because sometimes we don't know where your biggest contribution is going to be, and it's ahead of you.
Perhaps one of the highest, best uses of the communication that you guys work in is to encourage people across the planet to follow their dream, follow their muse, to do work creatively that's important and that speaks to them.
Yeah.
And then we try to monetize it later.
Yeah.
But from a spiritual perspective, you're doing the right thing, Spike Lee, and the ducats will come from where no one can say. But what we can testify to, and all these other people that you've interviewed across the globe, is that it does come. And so you just have to have faith. And I'm not encouraging anybody to be impractical, but on the other hand, I'm encouraging them to follow their heart and to follow their creative muse, even if they have to, wash dishes or take an office gig or whatever else it is.
Yep.
We encourage them to give their best in whatever pursuit they're doing in their economic life while they're pursuing their creative life.
When you're talking about following your heart and building something like a festival, I mean, it's one thing to say follow your heart, but like, what are the day-to-day things that you have to do that aren't part of the dream? Today we got to go to a meeting, with the city, or we got to go get some supporters. So I got to go meet the right people that will give us $10,000. I mean, all those things are not part of the fun part that you dream about,
Well, there's a good thing distinguished between creativity for creativity's sake and business. So in the entertainment business and the music business, we realize that there's an economic activity going on, a business activity. And so your question is apropos, and it made me immediately think of a great work of nonfiction called The E-Myth. Mm-hmm. And the E-Myth central thesis is that it's a myth that just because you're good at something, right, that you can make a business out of it. And the ladies here with us today will appreciate one of the prime examples that they give of that is that, somebody makes good pies. They've got their grandmother's recipe. They make good pies. Everybody loves their pies and constantly tells the pie creator, hey, your pies are so good, you really ought to go in business. But and so the myth is that just because you make good pies, you'll be successful in business, and that's not the case.
Right.
There's a bunch of other stuff. It's the business side that is daunting to most creatives and other really bohemians and other creative bohemian types.
Mm-hmm. So when it comes to sticking it out, you're a great example. How long you been doing this, Bill?
Well, I started out, I was Santa Claus in kindergarten.
That was the beginning of your performance career?
Yes, that
you
is.
were Santa Claus in kindergarten.
That's right.
All right.
And so,
what got you the part? Was it the beard?
I think it was my attitude.
Your sunny disposition.
Yes, that's exactly right.
Your joviality.
Yes.
Okay.
And so then, after participating in choir throughout my elementary, actually junior high and high school, I began to write songs and began with poetry and then fused it with songwriting and began performing and had my first professional performance unit. At 18, I also had the great blessing to be able to play at 18 internationally, and found that there was an audience for American music. And then I would do my patter in Spanish in between the songs, and that worked. And so then I realized at 18 that there were some international possibilities for what it was that I was doing. And so I'm a 25-year voting member of the National Academy of Recording Arts and Sciences, on the basis of the promotions or the productions that I've done.
That's the organization that decides on the Grammys for our listeners out there who are unfamiliar with NARIS, although if you've been listening for any length of time, you've heard that speech once or twice.
Yeah, so originally got introduced to that organization through the Hollywood Talent Festival. I took second place in the Hollywood Talent Festival with an original composition of mine called Rosa Rita, which was English and Spanish, had Spanish in it. And then we, got introduced to the Recording Academy, and because of our releases, we were then able to join. And so that's, a lifelong love of music and writing and performing. But God blessed me with another hemisphere, and so I can do some of the production stuff too. And I started off in producing small things, and then eventually my first larger public thing was here in Long Beach. There's a terrific performing arts center in Long Beach, the Long Beach Performing Arts Center, which is by the beach and by the ocean. It's a tremendous city asset and cultural institution here that, your listeners, when they come to Long Beach, they'll have to try to make a point to attend a performance here. It has more than one performance space.
Yeah.
There's a large theater. We saw Joe Bonamassa there. It's a 3,000-seater called the Terrace Theater, and I was able to produce shows there with Dionne Warwick and Burt Bacharach and Johnny Mathis, other pop legends, and then I would open those shows, and I started doing that at 40. And then here...
So 2 years ago.
So fast forward, rewind. Then we started the festival program because there had been a long-standing blues festival in Long Beach, the Long Beach Blues Festival, for 27 years.
Yeah. And
it was the second longest running in California next to the San Francisco Blues Festival. And it was a huge affair. It took place on four different locations. Primarily, though, it was held on the campus of Cal State Long Beach. It was a 3-day festival, 45,000 in its peak, 15,000 a day. And so we're trying to honor that tradition and that legacy. In fact, this is the first media that we're going to introduce the phrase that Long Beach is Southern California's home of the blues.
Hey, this is P.A. Turner from Lions Rock Productions. We create podcasts around here, and if you, your brand, or your company want to figure out how to do a podcast, just talk to me. I'll give you the advice on the right gear, the best plan, and show you how to take a podcast that makes sense for you, that's sustainable, that's scalable, and fun. Hit me up at pete@breakitdownshow.com. Let me help. I want to hear about it.
Long Beach is Southern California's home of the blues.
Yeah.
The home of the blues in Southern California is Long Beach. And we're trying to honor that tradition. There have been a lot of worldwide musical and all the arts performers who have come from Long Beach. Obviously, Snoop, Sublime, Michelle Pfeiffer, Nicolas Cage are some of the top box office. And
War.
And of course, War. Who, by the way, thanks for the segue, Bob. Tell them who our headliner was in Long Beach last year.
Well, that would have been the Lowrider Band.
Yeah.
And
that's War.
That's War. Those are the remaining
as everybody
members of
knows
War.
it. Yep.
Yeah. Fabulous group. Still to this day, they're out there touring all the time.
Yeah.
And Harold Brown, who's made sure that the band all got their music rights.
Yeah.
Harold is just an interesting man all by himself. Just listening to him tell about the struggle they went through to keep their rights and make sure that everybody in the band was being recognized.
Yeah,
they're a fabulous group.
My wife is smirking behind you because I deeply love Harold Brown. I deeply love that man. He is really good at telling the story of when they all would split a cheeseburger 7 ways. when what they could afford was a single cheeseburger, and they'd split that bad boy 7 ways, and that's how they always did the band. And he's just he's a gem of a human being. So his involvement in the musical community of Long Beach is really great because he has returned.
He has, and he not only helps out with the music service at his church called The Gathering, which is a Lutheran church in the heart of Long Beach every Sunday, but he also helps out with Blues Society events and others. And so he's really a great mentor for kids. That's what turns him on, because he got turned on that way.
Yeah.
Somebody said, you play the drums, when he was 7 or something like that.
Right.
And
helped him out.
So he's back. He's back in his hometown,
yep.
and he's back at it, helping to encourage the youth and the community.
Yeah. I just want to say the name Dave Agent because he's in the Bay Area with us now. He's actually in Sacramento, but he is a Bay Area music legend in a lot of circles, and he's originally from Long Beach. So anytime we post anything about or around Long Beach or involving anybody from Long Beach, he jumps up and hollers.
Sounds like he's an agent of change.
There you are, Dave Agent, agent of change. He's also an agent of the funk.
Yeah.
So, we love him.
Guest on the show a couple times over.
Yeah, many times guest. And he's helped us get other people to guest on the show. So, we've talked about a number of topics. I think what we really would like to do with you guys is to keep whatever you're doing on our radar so that we can mention it, we can promote it, we can help you get the word out to our listeners who will travel to Long Beach, travel to Huntington Beach, travel to San Rafael, and travel to wherever you're throwing festivals because they know they're going to get a good quality roster of artists with a day's worth of entertainment that's worth every penny that they spend, and then it's going to be surrounded by a bunch of other things to do that make it worth being a vacation destination.
Right.
I also just want to get, how did you guys meet?
Bob Barr, the president and the co-founder of the Long Beach Blues Society, and I met because of his work in journalism. Please.
Yeah, I was writing for Random Links News over in San Pedro, which is the last progressive paper in Los Angeles right now. It's the very opinionated newspaper with a fine dining section. And they also had a drama critic for a while. I used to write the music articles. They continued on with that tradition with a lot of fine writers. I occasionally contribute still. Anyway, I wrote an article. Actually, it was a series of articles that I've been writing called Cruising for the Blues, Looking for the Light. And it was just talking about music in general, if I recall the story, but about blues and about how it affected us. And Bill picked up on this, and he called me up. And he didn't know that I'd been a promoter before. He didn't know any of my backstory when we got into this. And he kind of brought me back into the fold after having kind of basically gotten away from doing any of the production stuff. And like him, I started off playing in bands.
Yeah.
That's where I began. I think my one claim to fame is I recorded a record. It got airtime here at old KNAC when it was still an FM rock format station. And I think I got played 3 times.
Nice.
And so that goes way, way back. But then I kind of shifted gears and started going into production and going into radio and working in TV and doing a lot of stuff like that. So those transitional things you were talking about before,
yeah,
I'm going through them. I still go through them today, doing that same exact thing. But it was Bill reading that article that got us hooked up together, and we started talking, and then we wanted to put a festival together, and he says, hey, check out this park up here, see if we can get a date. And I called him up, and we could get Labor Day weekend, which was the target date of the old Long Beach Blues Festival for 27 years.
Yeah.
So we kicked that into gear. We've now done the festivals that we've done in the 3 different cities that we've been in. And
terrific.
Expanding.
And by the way, sorry for the interruption, that particular article also talked about the Ash Grove.
Oh, yeah, that's right. The Ash Grove, that's a whole nother story all by itself, but the Ash Grove was started by a gentleman named Ed Pearl. His brother is Bernie Pearl. Bernie Pearl is the godfather of the blues in Los Angeles. He doesn't like when I say that, but he really is the guy who was the driving force in blues in Los Angeles. But it is brother Ed who's got the Ash Grove started by actually putting on a concert for Pete Seeger because his fraternity at UCLA didn't want to have Pete Seeger on their campus. So Ed went next door to the big Presbyterian church, put on a show, and turned Pete's career around, and having this big, giant event there. And from there, we went on. He invented the Ash Grove, which had your great folk artists of the day, your blues people who were coming out of the woodwork, thanks to the archivists that are out there whose names I'm forgetting right at this point. But there were a number of people that started doing blues, recording old blues artists. They started playing at the Ash Grove, and it was there that I was affected by people like a man named Mance Lipscomb, who I didn't know at the time, also was a mentor to Bernie Pearl. Bernie later was the guy that started Nothing But the Blues on KPPC in Los Angeles, which is now KRLQ. And that show later moved over to what the station at Long Beach City College, which is now K-Jazz.
Actually, the station was owned by the Unified School District at the time, and so Bernie brought the show there, and it was called Kalon.
Yeah, KLON, yeah.
And then that eventually was sold by the school district to the Research Foundation at the university. So KJ, and then renamed K-Jazz. So K-Jazz, the forefront, the number one radio station in the LA market for jazz and blues, is part of the university. And Bernie started the first, along with Dan Jacobson, started the first radio show for the blues. And then also they started the first Long Beach Blues Festival that ran for so long. So that's the tie-in overall. But so when I read Bob's article, I had to get in touch with him. And then we found that our interests were alike, and that's how we got it rolling. I wanted to harken back, before I was powdering my nose, we were talking about the E-Myth, and I just wanted to give your listeners across the planet one last shot at that book. You can probably find it online, the E-Myth. And this is about, the intersection of culture and business. Because if you're out there and you think you've got an idea culturally, like your art or your music or someone's idea culturally, and you want to develop it into a business, it behooves you to then look at what it takes to do a business. You were kind enough to ask the question about what's it like on a day-to-day, with the business part of it. And so you alluded to some things that it was. Well, it's every bit of any business on the planet. It's different because its product or its service is different that's for sale in the marketplace. But it's like any other business. So, would it behoove you to study business or to look at business practices? Sure. Would it be, a good thing to
read
look
books on business?
Or take a class
content.
or take an online thing or any of that? Yes, all of that is good and will help you. In no matter what you do in life, those things will be helpful too.
Yeah. Well,
So
I'm glad you said that.
encourage.
I'm glad you said that. A couple of things about that. We too try to encourage everybody to stay with it, and what drives you and what creates joy in your life, you should do it. And you should do a lot of it. But that doesn't mean you should go into business doing it, because sometimes you hate it. And you hate that you took this thing that you loved and that created so much joy in your life, and now because you are ill-prepared for the business part of it, it's become something that creates something other than joy.
So you and I would recommend keep baking the pies.
Keep baking the pies. Make everybody in your family happy. Give them pies. Pete and I both love pie.
I love pie.
Yeah.
And if I had a pie baking this motherfucker in my neighborhood, I'd be like, give me another damn pie.
Mm-hmm.
I'd
I think they have some pie here at the El Dorado restaurant.
Ooh, I like pie.
Do you like pie, Pete?
Pie.
We evidently Pops likes pie too.
Yeah.
So, yeah, all great advice. And I appreciate that you said I'm not telling anybody to be impractical.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because
you got to,
that's important.
You got to take care of body, mind, and spirit,
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm not encouraging anybody to go homeless. We have another our organization here in Los Angeles, Artists United to End Homelessness. But I'm not encouraging anybody to be irresponsible or impractical. Take care of your own personal life and your personal business. Yeah. Take care of business, as the old song goes. But should you choose to explore the path of pursuing a cultural career, you can be an employee, you can start your own business, but just approach it with a sober mind.
Yeah. And if you've got a passion for something like that too, you can also volunteer. You don't have to. We have this sense that we always want to invent the new thing that's already been invented 1,000 times, you know? So if it's the blues or if it's homeless people, there's people already leaning on that problem. Go join them.
Help them out.
Yeah. And then
you know who's great at volunteering? Tiffany.
Yeah, that's right.
She's Volunteer of the Year.
Yes,
she's here with us today, too, without a microphone on, but she's been taking pictures, and we appreciate her doing that.
And can I pronounce her name? Is it Van Glider? Yeah.
Gilda.
What?
Van Gilder.
Van Gilder.
Oh, Van Gilder. Van Gilder. So Tiffany Van
You know that's
Gilder.
Dutch for makes money.
Oh, she was Dutch
Right?
for makes
Tiffany
pie.
Van Gilder.
about
Tiffany
right.
makes money.
And so she's
Van Gilder, that's right.
a graduate of
Yes,
California
Gilder.
State University at Long Beach.
Oh, it's a CSU Long Beach grad. Look at that. Do you want to put that mic on? Tiffany says no.
Little
thank
mic
you.
shot.
Yeah,
That's all right.
She says no, thank you, but she's been a lovely help today.
and one of those people that you mentioned in the background that helps make it all work.
Yeah, that drives the process, that
and
drives the industry.
So we want to, shout out in the same way to all volunteers and all, organizations, because, humbly the kids that we service at the festival and in our Blues in the Schools program, the seniors in our Blues for Seniors, our veterans work, Blues for Vets. We do a lot of work at the local Veterans Hospital, which is one of the largest in the world.
Right next door to Long Beach State.
Right next door to Long Beach State, the Veterans Hospital. We work with 4 of their different veteran services.
Right.
And we've got another potential event coming up for Veterans Day. But all of these groups, the community, the friends, the artists themselves, these are the people. This is the village.
Yeah.
This is the community. And so, here in Long Beach, we're building a community of friends, if you will, that are like-minded in this way for various reasons, and we have a lot of different approaches. But it's a community that we're building, and so we encourage anybody who's out there listening to come to California, come to Long Beach, and see what's going on. Not only is it a semi-arid desert on the sea, but you've got this great cultural, happening and this great community, these great people. So we encourage you to come to Long Beach.
Yeah, I think as we round third base here, that's the theme. Come to California, you're going to have a great time. Come to Long Beach. I've had so many good times in Long Beach. I used to come down here summers because I had cousins, my aunt and uncle used to live down here, my Uncle Julian and my Auntie Chilla, God bless my Uncle Julian, he passed. But I come down here and I would spend the summers with my cousins Jeff and Kathy and Selena and Julian, and we'd have a great time down here, and we'd go to the beach and we'd have fun, and we'd go to the mall. And then later on in life, Christy and I came down here one time. We departed from here to go to a cruise, and we had the serendipitous luck of having to be here on the weekend of the Grand Prix. Yeah. So just by accident, we wandered around, and hey, there's Formula One race cars here. So you never know what you're going to run into that's going to spark inspiration and happiness when you come to Long Beach. Also come to Huntington Beach the last weekend in April 2020 and see the Huntington Beach Blues Festival. It's going to be a day of great music surrounded by businesses, restaurants, and all kinds of places, art galleries, and everything that you're going to love. So come see those things. Where can people catch you guys on the web?
Thank you. All 3 organizations have websites and Facebook pages, and there's also a presence on Instagram. Who's on Instagram?
On Instagram, we're New Blues Festival. Just
New
that,
Blues
New
Festival.
Blues Festival, one word.
Okay.
And Facebook is New Blues Fest and Long Beach Blues Society.
Okay.
So all of those organizations, have their regular .coms or .org. So newbluesfestival.com, longbeachbluessociety.org, and of course, the progenitor of it all, the New Blues Revolution Band. It's got its own Facebook page and its own .com as well. So we encourage you to connect.
Yes, indeed. So, all right. Well, Bill, Bob, and Steve, thank you so much, man, for coming out.
Thank you.
And thank you, Bob and Steve, for letting Bill spring this on you. And thank you, Bill, for responding and bringing us out. This has been great, and we're going to follow you guys, and we're going to...
Thanks to the El Dorado Golf Club.
Oh, the El Dorado Golf Club, which is lovely. Come out here and hit a few balls around.
El Dorado restaurant we want to reach out to.
Have a... Tiffany had a terrific club sandwich if you're here for lunch.
Yeah.
If you're here for breakfast, you're on your own because everything here is good. So, come on out.
Thanks for helping us on the Break It Down show.